the mountain men's star vanished without warning, and what authorities just revealed about his disappearance will leave you speechless. For 8 seasons, Marty Meierotto was the heart and soul of Mountain Men. Then suddenly in 2020, he vanished from the show without any real explanation. Fans were left wondering, worrying, and creating wild theories about what happened to one of television's most beloved wilderness experts. Some feared he died in a plane crash. Others thought a bear attack got him. Some believed he simply walked into the Alaskan wilderness and never came back. For years, nobody knew the truth. The silence was deafening. But now, the mystery has finally been solved, and the truth is more surprising than anyone expected. Marty Meierotto wasn't just another reality TV star. Born in February 1960 in Foxborough, Wisconsin, he grew up with a father who taught him to love the outdoors. His father Thomas took young Marty hunting, fishing, and camping constantly. These early experiences planted a seed that would grow into a lifelong passion. In the early 1980s, when Marty was in his 20s, he made a decision that most people thought was crazy. He packed up his life and moved to Alaska to become a full-time trapper. Not a part-time hobby trapper. A full-time, living off the land, surviving in sub-zero temperatures professional trapper. He settled into Rivers, Alaska with his wife Dominique and eventually their daughter Noah Jane. But every winter, Marty would do something that seemed impossible. He would fly his small plane hundreds of miles into the frozen wilderness to a tiny one-room cabin on the Dronjik River. This cabin had no electricity, no running water, no phone, no internet, nothing. Just 4 walls, a wood stove, and the endless Alaskan wilderness surrounding him. He would spend months there completely alone, trapping animals like lynx, mink, and marten in temperatures that regularly dropped to 40 or 50 degrees below zero. Most people can't imagine surviving one night in those conditions. Marty did it 4 months at a time, year after year, for decades. When the History Channel launched Mountain Men in May 2012, Marty was one of the original cast members. The show followed him and other survivalists as they lived off the land like people did hundreds of years ago. But unlike most reality TV, this wasn't fake or staged. Marty was just living his normal life with cameras following him. For 8 seasons, millions of viewers tuned in to watch him battle the brutal Alaskan wilderness. They watched him fly through dangerous weather. They watched him trap and kill animals with his bare hands. They watched him fix broken equipment in freezing cold. They watched him rescue stranded people who would have died without his help. Week after week, Marty proved he was the real deal. But then something changed. Toward the end of season 8, Marty made a shocking announcement. He was leaving the show. His explanation was simple but vague. He said he wanted to spend more time with his 13-year-old daughter Noah and didn't want cameras following him anymore. "I've been doing this my whole life, and for the past 8 years I've had a camera on me all the time," Marty said on the show. He added something that stuck with fans. "If you're laying on your deathbed, you're not going to be thinking about how much money you made or some job you had. You're going to be thinking about what you've done with your life." After that announcement in 2020, Marty Meierotto completely disappeared from public view. No social media posts, no interviews, no updates, nothing. It was like he had vanished into thin air. And that's when the rumors started. Online forums dedicated to Mountain Men exploded with theories about what happened to Marty. Some fans were convinced he had died, but the family was keeping it quiet. Others thought he'd been seriously injured in a trapping accident. The theories got wilder and wilder as time went on. One popular theory claimed that Marty's plane had crashed in bad weather. People pointed out that flying small planes in Alaska is extremely dangerous. The weather changes fast. Visibility can drop to 0 in seconds. Mountains appear out of nowhere in whiteout conditions. Every year, experienced pilots die in plane crashes across Alaska. Fans feared that Marty, despite all his experience, had finally met his match in the Alaskan sky. Some people even claimed they heard from locals in Alaska that wreckage matching Marty's plane had been found. But no official reports ever confirmed this. Another theory suggested that Marty had been attacked by a bear or other wild animal. Alaska is home to massive grizzly bears and polar bears that can weigh over 1,000 pounds and kill a human with one swipe of their paw. Fans remembered episodes where Marty had close encounters with bears. They wondered if his luck had finally run out. Some claimed that a trapper matching Marty's description had been found dead near the Yukon River, mauled by a bear. Again, no official reports ever confirmed this, but the rumor spread like wildfire online. A third theory was that Marty had simply decided to disappear into the wilderness forever. Some fans believed he had grown tired of civilization completely and chose to walk away from everything, including his family, to live alone in the wild until the end of his days. They pointed to his increasingly thoughtful and distant demeanor in his final season as evidence that he was planning to vanish. This theory painted Marty as a modern-day mountain man who finally returned to nature permanently, like the old-time trappers who disappeared into the frontier never to be seen again. Then there were darker theories. Some people speculated that Marty had committed suicide. They noted that he seemed tired and worn down in his final episodes, living in extreme isolation for months every year, facing constant danger, and dealing with the physical toll of such a harsh lifestyle could break anyone's mental health. Some fans worried that the darkness and isolation had finally gotten to him, and he had taken his own life in the wilderness where he felt most at peace. Other theories suggested foul play. Alaska has its share of criminals, drug runners, and dangerous people hiding in remote areas. Some fans theorized that Marty had encountered the wrong people in the wrong place and had been killed. Others thought he might have witnessed something illegal and was either forced into hiding or silenced. These theories were the most disturbing but gained traction among fans desperate for any explanation of his disappearance. The History Channel didn't help the situation at all. They remained completely silent about Marty's whereabouts. When fans asked about him on social media, the network ignored the questions. When reporters reached out for comment, they got generic responses about respecting cast members' privacy. This silence only fueled more speculation. If Marty was fine and just taking a break from TV, why wouldn't the network say so? The lack of information made people assume the worst. Marty's family also stayed silent. His wife Dominique didn't post on social media. His daughter Noah didn't give any interviews. Friends and fellow cast members from Mountain Men refused to comment when asked about Marty. This wall of silence was deafening. In today's world where everyone shares everything online, the complete absence of any information about Marty felt ominous. People assumed that the silence meant something terrible had happened, and the family was dealing with grief privately. Some fans took matters into their own hands. They contacted Alaska state troopers asking if there were any missing person reports filed for Marty Meierotto. The answer was always no, but that didn't ease concerns. They argued that if Marty had died alone in the wilderness, his body might never be found. Alaska is massive, over 665,000 square miles of mostly uninhabited land. A person could die out there and their remains might not be discovered for decades or ever. True crime podcasts started covering Marty's disappearance. YouTube channels dedicated entire videos to theories about what happened to him. Some people claim to have inside information from sources in Alaska, though none of it was ever verified. The mystery of Marty Meierotto became a phenomenon. People who had never even watched Mountain Men heard about the famous trapper who vanished without a trace. Then in 2024, something completely unexpected happened that shocked the entire Mountain Men fanbase. Marty Meierotto returned to the show. Just like that, no big announcement beforehand, no explanation of where he'd been. He simply appeared in season 13 as if nothing had happened. Fans couldn't believe their eyes. The man they thought might be dead was alive, looking healthy, and back to trapping in the Alaskan wilderness. So what really happened to Marty Meierotto? The truth is both simple and profound. Nothing happened to him. He didn't crash his plane. He wasn't attacked by bears. He didn't get lost in the wilderness or commit suicide. He wasn't murdered or forced into hiding. He simply did exactly what he said he was going to do. He left television to spend time with his teenage daughter and teach her the wilderness skills he'd spent a lifetime mastering for 4 years. From 2020 to 2024, Marty focused completely on his family. He took his daughter Noah, who was 13 when he left the show, into the wilderness with him. He taught her how to trap animals. He taught her how to fly his plane. He taught her how to survive in sub-zero temperatures. He taught her how to respect nature and live off the land. These weren't quick weekend lessons. This was years of intensive training, passing down knowledge from father to daughter that very few people in the modern world still possess, and it worked beautifully. By 2024, Noah had become an accomplished wilderness expert in her own right. She appeared in 27 episodes of Mountain Men alongside her father, showing viewers that she had absorbed everything Marty taught her. Even more impressively, Noah and her all-girls precision rifle team qualified for the national championships at Camp Perry, Ohio in 2024. She had become the kind of strong, skilled, self-reliant young woman that Marty had hoped to raise. When Marty returned to Mountain Men for season 13, fans finally understood. He hadn't abandoned the show because something terrible happened. He left because he recognized that his daughter's teenage years were a short window of time that would never come again. If he didn't step away from television right then to focus on teaching her, he would miss his chance. The cameras, the fame, the money, none of it mattered compared to being present for his daughter during those critical years. The season 14 premiere in September 2025 showed a perfect full-circle moment. Marty was guiding Noah through her first bush plane landing at a remote caribou camp. The student had become the master. The young girl who needed her father's constant attention had become a capable young woman who could survive in the Alaskan wilderness on her own. Marty's decision to leave television had paid off in the most beautiful way possible. So why didn't Marty or his family explain this during those 4 years of silence? The answer reveals something important about who Marty is as a person. He doesn't owe anyone an explanation for how he lives his life. He doesn't need to justify his decisions on social media. He doesn't care about public opinion or online speculation. Marty lives by his own code, and part of that code is keeping his family life private. While the internet was spinning wild theories about his disappearance, Marty was in the wilderness teaching his daughter, completely unbothered by what strangers thought. This attitude is increasingly rare in modern society where everyone feels the need to constantly update the world about their lives. Marty's silence during those years wasn't mysterious or suspicious. It was simply a man choosing to live his life without feeling obligated to explain himself to the public. He had told viewers he was leaving to spend time with his family, and that's exactly what he did. Marty is now back on Mountain Men in 2025. Appearing in season 14, he's 65 years old, still flying his plane into the wilderness, still trapping, still living the life he's always lived. His net worth is estimated between $300,000 and $450,000, earned from his television work, his book In the Land of Wilderness published in 2020, and his 31-year career with the Bureau of Land Management Alaska Fire Service before retiring. He lives in Two Rivers, Alaska with his wife Dominique, and his daughter Noah is now a young adult continuing the family tradition. The mystery of what happened to Marty Meierotto turned out to be no mystery at all. He simply chose family over fame, daughter over dollars, and real life over reality TV. In a world obsessed with constant visibility and social media presence, Marty proved that you can just step away, live your life privately, and come back when you're ready, on your own terms. The man who taught millions how to survive in the wilderness also taught us something equally important. That sometimes disappearing isn't about running away from something, it's about running toward what matters most. Drop a comment below if you were worried about Marty during those years and what you think about the real reason he left the show.